2.5 years ago, I was sitting outside a gas station looking at my bank app and it said $212.63. That wasn't gas money. That was everything. No savings, no plan, just a pit in my stomach and a voice in my head saying, "You really blew it this time." I had lost everything in the stock market. I was broke, embarrassed, and I just remember thinking, like, how did I even end up here? I wasn't lazy. I worked hard, but here I am terrified of taking another risk, terrified of failing again. So I kept playing it small, hoping something would magically change. And that's when it hit me. Most people never make it in wholesaling, but they never make it in anything for that matter. Not because they're stupid, not because the system is rigged, but because they still keep trying to protect the very life that's keeping them stuck. I learned the hard way that avoiding risk was actually the biggest risk of all. And once I stopped protecting my fear, everything changed. Let me show you what I mean. A lot of people are afraid of risk. And I get it. Risk is scary. The pit in your stomach before you make that first call, yeah, I felt that too. I remember sitting there looking at my phone thinking like, I can't take another no. I don't want another rejection. I was just terrified to fail again. The fear, it feels like safety. Like if you don't move, like you can't lose anything. But here's the part that hit me one night after 8 hours of cold calls and 0 results. If I don't risk something, I'm already losing everything. The job, the car, the life I don't even want. And then it clicked. The fear that I thought was protecting me was the same thing keeping me trapped. See, most people, they try to protect themselves from failure. But name one successful person who ever got anywhere playing it safe. You can't. People fear risk because they don't understand it. They don't have the information, they don't have the system, and they probably don't have the guidance. So instead of learning and taking action, they just hide. But if you knew what you were doing, if you had a real process and real help, would you still fear risk? Of course not. Because once you're making 20 to 30K a month wholesaling, the risk doesn't feel like danger anymore. It feels like leverage. One of my mentors, they told me something that changed my life forever. The worst thing that happens if you take a risk and fail is you end up back where you already are. That hit me like a brick. If I fail, I stay in the same spot. But if I win, my life changes forever. So I had to ask myself, am I more afraid of failing or more afraid of never achieving what I've wanted to achieve? That's when I realized the biggest risk I could ever take was just playing it safe. And trust me, I've made every excuse in the book. Like, I don't have enough money. Everyone says I'd start if I had the money. But I've seen people with $50,000, $60,000 in their bank account quit after a month. And I've seen people with $0 in their bank account make $20,000 within their first 2 weeks by simply calling for sale by owners. Because truth be told, it's never about the money. It's about resourcefulness. There are two kinds of people. The ones that hit their goals no matter what it takes, and those who build a wall of excuses around why they can't start. I'm not saying that your situation is not hard. I know people out there who are balancing life, stress, kids, relationships, parents, anything. But there have been people in your exact same shoes who have figured it out. So ask yourself, what kind of person do you want to be? The one who says, I'm stuck, I can't save, life's too expensive. Or the other one who says, I'm done living like this and I'm gonna find a way. Because if getting your money up first was the answer, you would have already done it. Do you know the definition of insanity? Doing the same thing over and over and over again, expecting a different outcome. And that's what keeps most people broke. When you're broke, your creativity becomes your currency. And that's where every hustler's story begins. You go from feeling broke to feeling resourceful to feeling unstoppable. And a lot of people feel this way because of the small town mindset. Where I grew up, everyone called everything a scam. If you tried to think bigger than your town, people said, be realistic. If you tried to start something new and scale it up, they'd say, don't get your hopes up. And I get it. They weren't being mean. They were just repeating what they had been told. Generations upon generations of people thinking small and them handing it down like it's a family tradition. But that mindset keeps people stuck in life. And you'll watch them grow old, still talking about what they could have done. It's so important surrounding yourself with people who want what's best for you and want to push you. Because the apple doesn't fall far from the tree unless you decide to climb a new one. You can either keep repeating that same story that your town and the people around you believe, or you can write a new story that everyone will talk about. That's the shift. You're gonna go from fitting in to breaking out to leading the way. But in order to achieve that, you have to understand that no one ever feels ready. I wasn't ready. The first seller I ever called, I stuttered, my voice cracked, and I just kind of hung up the phone because I was nervous. But I did it again and again and again. And that's when I learned confidence doesn't come before action, it comes from action. When you say, I'm not ready, what you really mean is, I'm scared. And that's okay. But the only thing that conquers anxiety is action. When you start making calls, sending offers, facing rejection, something changes. Your fear gets quieter and your progress gets louder. You go from anxious to action to certain, because action kills anxiety faster than preparation ever will. Now, if any of this feels uncomfortably true, that's good. That means you're self-aware enough to change it. The only person that can change you from where you are now to where you want to be is staring right back at you in the mirror. Stop waiting for permission. You don't need it. You just need to start. You're going to hear a lot of people around you tell you, oh, the market's too saturated. But here's the real truth, is that the market is only saturated with talkers. Everyone talks about wholesaling. They post quotes, they might buy a course, they might even make a logo, but they never talk to a seller. They never even make an offer. They are spectators, not players. The doers, the ones who pick up the phone every day, the ones who practice their sales skills, the ones who follow up, the ones who take rejection, and the ones who keep going, those are rare. And rare always wins. From the outside, it looks crowded, but from the inside, it's wide open for a few people who are actually doing the work. And while you're watching this, you might think, like, you've tried already and it didn't work. I've said that too, but when I look back on it, I wasn't actually working. I was just moving. And there's a huge difference. Busy does not mean productive. I was doing all the wrong things. Watching videos, tweaking my logo, reorganizing my CRM, thinking I was making progress. But none of that stuff makes money. Until you do what matters, like making calls, submitting offers, and actually following up, you're just spinning in circles. Once I actually focused on what pushes the needle forward, everything changed. I went from feeling like I was trying to actually making progress, to finally closing deals. Movement without direction is just chaos. Movement with a purpose and intent is momentum. And looking around you, you might think, well, the economy's bad. The economy is always bad for someone. Every year, there is a reason to be scared. Interest rates, elections, inflation. But opportunities don't vanish, they shift. Deals still happen every single day. They just go to the people who are still making offers while everyone else sits there and complains. It is never the market. It is the mindset. Real winners know that input equals output. Keep calling, keep adapting, keep moving forward. That's how you go from uncertainty to advantage. Switch that mindset from the market's bad to the market's mine. And you don't need to know everything first. Trying to know everything that's just one's procrastination pretending to be perfectionism. People say, once I know what to offer, once I know contracts better, once I know how to sell better, then I'll start. But that's just the brain delaying discomfort. You'll never know everything, not until you do it. You'll learn paperwork when you're forced to fill it out. You'll learn negotiation when the sellers are hanging up on you. And you'll learn sales when people actually pick up the phone. Every great entrepreneur and wholesaler started lost. The only difference is they started anyway. You go from thinking you need control to trusting the process to realizing that you were actually capable the entire time. Speaking of time, don't you dare say you don't have time. Working a 9 to 5, good. That's proof you know how to work hard and commit. But here's the truth though, you'll never ever find the time because you have to make time for this. The same reason you don't have the time now is the same reason you need this. You're spending all of your energy building someone else's dream instead of your own. Close one $30K deal and suddenly you have all the time in the world. You're gonna go from busy surviving to intentionally building to completely free. But it all starts here, at defining your goals, where you define your goals. Most people aren't lost, they're just vague. They say they have goals, but they have no direction. I wanna make more money, I wanna be happier, I wanna retire early. Those aren't goals, those are just wishes. A real goal has specificity, emotion, and metrics. Try this instead. I will become a millionaire within 5 years, and I'll do it by mastering wholesaling. I'll be able to eat dinner with my family every night, and I'll be able to travel the world debt-free. That's clarity, and clarity builds conviction. When you know exactly what you want, your brain stops asking, is it possible? And it starts asking, how? That's how you go from hoping to believing to executing. Every excuse, every belief keeping you stuck, that's just fear in disguise. The moment you face it, the moment you say, I'm done letting fear run this, everything will change for you. I am not here to sell you a dream. I am here to remind you that the dream is already in your hands. You just keep dropping it every time it feels heavy. So take the next step. Work with people who can help you. Take the risk. Keep learning, take action, and keep showing up. And if this hits you, subscribe below because this is only the beginning. I'll see you in the next one.